Hi again, everybody. So I use the analogy of food because I love food um, to kind of tell you the story that we had while transforming our organization. So on the next slide, you will see a quote which talks about cooking and how the cooking changes the cook as well as the food. So similarly, in the finance transformation, it not only affects your processes and products, but it also affects in a very large way the people. So this is a very important aspect that you need to keep in mind. On the next page, I will explain to you what we did, or rather why we did the change that we did. So you might have heard quite often these questions or comments that come from your business. They might be saying that the finance does not understand what's happening out in the real life market. I do not get a report that give me any actionable data. I don't get my reports on time to make any decisions. And finally, many people say that we are just a scoreboard keeper who just records the score rather than doing anything proactive about it. So what's happening is the businesses are transforming very, very rapidly. They are getting digitized. And what I find is many organizations, the finance is not evolving as rapidly, and we are still working the way we used to work 10 years back or 15 years back. Especially after COVID, the rate of change has been very, very rapid. So we faced this similar situation, and what we did is there in the next page. So what we did, first, the structure. So again, you will find many similarities with what Kona presented. So you will find a lot of overlap. So I'm happy that we are following a template which is more common and not something very, very special. So the first one we decided to change was the structure. So we split our teams into three different kind of structures. One was for the routine accounting, like accounts payable, accounts receivable, GL, etc. We kind of created a shared service center, and we moved all the people there so that it was cut off, and it was kind of a regular job which was being done. It was moved to a country where we had benefits of economies of scale. We also had a cost-effective country where we had saved on cost, and we could have segregation of duty because we had a larger team. So we could, design our processes in such a way that we could have proper segregation of duty and control, which was not possible if we had separate teams by countries. Secondly, we developed a central team of specialists, and these specialists could specialize in areas such as tax, could be pricing, could be project management. So these were specialists who were working in a central place. And finally, at the customer facing side, we created an organization of finance business partners. So these guys worked very closely with the business, helping them to find solutions from a financial perspective. So these guys would often interact with the specialist group for the areas where they need help on, right? And that's how we created this. And revolving all of these, what we did is put in a job rotation policy, whereby, over a period of time, the specialist will get a chance to become a finance business partner, vice versa, etc. So this way, not anybody is doing the same work repeatedly for a long time. And in finance, this is very critical that this kind of job rotation is done. So this is on the structure, the change that we did. And in the next slide, I'll talk briefly about the technology part of it. So this was one of the main spices that we used in the cooking, so to say. So one was we had multiple systems, so we broke it down. We brought it all down to a single source of truth, so that we reduce our time on reconciliations. And all the data, we have only one source, so it's it's the right one. We kind of looked at all the reports. We eliminated reports that were not required. Then whatever was left, we standardized them, and we then automated them. We started a concept of online dashboard. So any entry done in the accounting system gets reflected simultaneously on an online dashboard. So as a manager, I can see where my budget stands today based on what is actually spent versus what is also committed, like a purchase order has been issued, though it is not paid. What is the commitment that is already done, so that he can continuously monitor it against the against his or her annual budget, etc. Earlier, what used to happen was people will have to wait until the month end to get the report, and by that time, either it's too late or it's of no use. We also introduced the rolling forecast. So we had a scenario based, we have a scenario based forecasting tool where the latest information keeps getting updated. So you can have the year end number always constantly being updated. The model that we adopted was minimum customization. So it was most of it was off the shelf product. So we just made sure that it was integrated on top of our existing ERP system, and that way our cost was lower. In the reporting, what we also did was we did a management by exception, which meant that we did not report unless there is something wrong. So the routine reports were kind of eliminated. So if everything is going wrong, we don't do any special report. Those can be seen anyway online by the people. So on the dashboard. We also introduced a lot of self-service tools. So this helped us, kind of reduce the burden on the finance department, because people could put in the requests like expense claim, etc., by going themselves, putting everything, attaching the documents, and then there is a system check on whether the policies they have been adhered to, etc. So a lot of finance time got freed up, which was used to do more value-added activities like what I mentioned, the finance business partnership, etc. On the next slide was the final thing, was the presentation. So as you know that even though the dish may be very good, unless the presentation is done, the value of the dish is not that great, right? So again, something that Kona covered was the storytelling. So after all what you do, how do you finally present it? How do you get people to action on it, right? So I have put in some points, but for me, the major one, what we trained our finance guys to do in the storytelling was always connect with the corporate strategy. Ultimately, everything that we do has to contribute towards, delivering that corporate strategy. So in the storytelling, we need to see how the story that we are telling or what the presentation we are doing connects it to the larger strategy of the group. This makes sure that everyone connects to it. The other point which we specifically did, and this may differ across organization, is we said, try to be as factual as possible, give all the data, but leave the decision to the audience. And yes, you can probably hint, but don't kind of, try to influence, because there are other experts like the marketing guys or the sales guys who may have better, kind of inclination than us. But at the same time, we provide the data and allow them to come to the conclusion. Of course, we give our contribution as well, but we don't try to overly influence them. Okay. And finally, in the next slide, this is one of my favorite quotation from Warren Buffett. So in summary, what I would like to say is it is impossible for us to predict what the future will bring. But at the same time, as finance leaders, it's our responsibility to think of what may happen and to ensure that the company is made ready to face that particular organization. Thank you.